is North Star Ball with an interview with Andrew Klinger, a
Hey,
good
everybody.
friend of the channel, from South Dakota. Did I get that right this time?
Yeah, definitely don't ever say North Dakota.
That's
We
right.
hate those guys.
So Klinger ran his Go Tanks again. He took third at the was it TAC or Core?
Yeah,
The TAC
it was tech.
TAC webcam event. Taken third, and he placed very well again. So Go Tanks is not dead. Is good deck. So you wanna
Mhm.
go through some changes he made between the draft box format, I guess we're in, we call it, and
Y-
your mindset going in.
Yeah, so with Go Tanks, I mean, it is figured out because it's all like the same cards. There's not much room to wiggle. You've got about six flex spots and only like three or four options for those spots. Um, what I changed for this event was I added Dodoria Brimming with Power and a Fu Shrouded and for the greater good. So these are four of those six flex spots. The other two being Cells Earth Destroying, um, which retained. The reason for doing this change is I sold my Zarbons after finding out I was going to win more, and they never got here in time. So I personally didn't miss them too much, uh, and they're good. Don't get me wrong, but spending the mana is okay. But the free blocker is just as good as, if not better, especially against Red Broly. Um, the Dodoria obviously for the floodgates and the Fu for Sin Shenron is really good. And I ended up taking out Rebarian as well as the other two spots. I just would only use it one in every 6, 7 games. And I figured that's more of a mana dump. But if I counter the floodgate anyway with the Doria, then I wouldn't need the mana dump. So there you go.
Yeah, fair. I know the night before you were messaging me, you and I were messaging like all night about the Doria or Cell taking out which one for adding Zarbon or for taking out your Zarbons.
Hmm.
So I think the big thing was the Sin matchup where you can just hit the ball coming in play after you pop the big Sin Shenron
Yeah, that would
was.
be fantastic. It didn't happen, but if it did, it would have been awesome.
Mhm. All right, so the list, like you said, pretty standard. He mentioned the changes, so I guess we'll just get into what how the day looked. I know round two wasn't the greatest. Everyone saw that on stream, but
Yeah, it
you,
is
you
what it
gotta get
is.
those out there.
Yeah. So with round one, I played Dark Broly for the first time ever. Uh, good time to find out what it does in the tournament, right? It was a pretty grindy matchup, pretty close. I found out that his ability to warp a card out of my drop and from my hand was really strong because it can hit like a Go 10 Trunks, and then you have no Go 10s to fuse with, like, or to get back when your Go Tanks dies. Or obviously, it can hit your Roshis. It's pretty strong effect there. So you got to be careful with just dumping your Roshis in the drop right away because you definitely want to save the Dormants for when they end up pumping out all their 6 drops and Demigrows and stuff like that. I think for this matchup, the Dark Broly really shouldn't play the blocker ever because it pretty much just gets popped by the Go tanks every time. And they should focus on getting out their draft box 6 Demigrows as much as possible. Um, yeah, overall, though, I think Dark Broly is a pretty good deck, but uh, I went 2-0 against it on the day, so I think it needs a little bit more juice.
The Migro just
Vegeks,
wasn't enough.
yeah, don't get me wrong, that's a great card, but it can get counterplayed by Frieza, which is pretty strong too,
Oh, true.
and so then it doesn't get its auto on the swing. So yeah, that went well for me. And round two was Vegeks, which unfortunately got streamed. I couldn't find a unison to save my life, so I ended up having to spend mana on my Dormants. Super flustered, didn't even pop their Kais or his Kais on it. Uh, he had BMS out, so I couldn't even look for a unison with doing the trunks, sending the trunks to the drop area to filter a Goten trunks out of the deck to play it, and then to add it back into my hand after a swing to look for a unison, which is usually the go-to dig for a unison play after you filter your deck out
Hmm.
with like more Gotens and trunks with using the Go Kill.
Do you
Um,
think, I know Dark Black Massain kills the hand because of that, but you think the pressure and how much card advantage you get, maybe that could have been the play, or you just
yeah,
think it would have been still too much?
I mean the play would have been to dormant a BMS and a Kai,
Yeah,
and then just do that on turn two. Uh, it would have been tough. I mean, what you lose two cards out of your hand
yeah, to warp,
in a
which is worse in green.
yeah, that wouldn't have felt good. But and especially if you whiffed, could you imagine that?
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay, so
And by that time, I did see Unison was turn three. Swung with my leader, couldn't find it. My only other option was just to play a Go Tank six drop, and sure enough, I draw two off of that. Eh, just face palmed and lost the following turn. It was tough. Uh, and yeah, like I said, unfortunately, that one got streamed. Round three was Sin Shenron against Blake from Minneapolis as well.
yep, shout out to the Outcast gamers.
Uh-huh. Unfortunately, I was able to keep all of his four drop sins in check with a Frieza every time. By the time he got out the nine drop, it was his turn five. And then the following turn, I just Fu Shrouded. So unfortunate for him, we didn't really get into the meat of the matchup where it gets really skill intensive. Um, I also answered his unison right away with a five drop go tanks. So
Yeah, that would do it. I know.
yeah,
We talked about Fu the night before, where I suggest taking it out, and you're like, nah, 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 nah. That Sin matchup though, because
yeah.
because
If
if
I wouldn't
we
have played the Sin all week or on the day, I would have been like, oh, dang it, why did I add that?
right, because the if we looked at the format breakdown, because there's like what 64 players, the most represented decks were Vegx, Reboot Gohan, and Red Broly. Be swap.
hmm
So I was more thinking that while I was helping out, but I don't play the deck. Klinger's definitely pretty good at the deck, so he made the right
Yeah,
choice.
and it's okay because you can still get rid of it. Like when you're not when it's a card's not green, you worry about it clogging your hand because all the green cards that discard card need a green card to discard,
Hmm.
except for Paragus. So a lot of times I would Paragus super combo and then just warp the Food Shrouded. So it was okay to get rid of in those
Nice.
dead matchups. Yeah.
Hmm.
And then round four was Vijek's rematch. This time I got the better half of it. You know, I saw the right cards I needed to see. I I ended up doing the patented dormant max power cycle.
Oh, nice. Your favorite combo.
Yeah. So they just can't do anything if you have dormant Roshis and max power because you just get all the cards back on the second attack. You just negate it with max power. So ended up getting that one. Round five was the old Gogeta leader with obviously the new Gogeta stuff. Just another great matchup to have a max power in your deck. I'm a pretty big believer that you should play one of in almost every deck. And I here's where the Dodoria made me feel really good because I had it in my hand and I was just playing aggressive against him. And if I ever knew that he saved two mana for a topo, I would just have the Dodoria. And I tried my best to not combo the other one and just keep it a secret. But he ended up tapping out for his Gogeta plays, and I max powered it before he could minus 20 my Go tanks. And that was that. And finally, round six was Dark Broly again. This time I was way more informed on it. This time he was playing a Kid Coup package, which unfortunately, I mean for him, unfortunately, my dormant hidden potential uh, just kills it. And I spammed out three Go tanks on him that game, so he had a rough time. I had all the
Nice.
dormants and all the Go tanks. It was pretty not much skill intensive for me because if you just see all the the Gotenks and the Gotenks pieces and the Dormants, you pretty much just know what you have to do. You just play aggro with a floodgate.
Awesome.
Yep. Yep.
So
That
all
got
in
me to
all,
five
good
and
day.
one on the day in fourth place.
Awesome. How many times did Big Cell come down?
Only once this time. It came down 3 or 4 times in the qualifiers, but unfortunately only one time this time. Uh, it also opened in my hand against round two of Ejects. Forgot to say this, I opened a Fu Shrouded and a Cell Zeno in my hand.
Oh,
And just right then, I just got flustered. Even you just know you're not going to win when your hand's that bad against
right.
Vajeks. Uh, yeah, I played it against I think round six. I played it um, turn four, so I played it early just to. I didn't think he had a negate because he comboed 3 cards out of his hand to get out of an attack before him.
Hmm.
So I was
Good
like, okay,
indicator.
he might not have a negate, but he was smart enough to plan. Maybe he was just planning for the Celzano swing, and then he warped it with the Broly the following turn. But yeah, still got the win there. I mean, you play that many Go tanks and have those floodgates, you're gonna win.
Right. Awesome. Good work
Thank you.
on your day. Sounds like it was really fun.
Yeah.
Any last shout outs or anything or last remarks?
Um, I guess shout out to Andrew Mickelson again. You know, my training partner. Unfortunately, he didn't do as well as he did the last time, but we'll be back. We'll be better.
Yep. Catch
Maybe
his
Pan will be in his future.
Oh yeah. Catch his Frieza. I believe he took was it eighth? Top eight. He top eight, right?
Yeah,
He top
I think so.
eight the core event playing a green starter Frieza, and that deck profile should be also up on our channel here.
hmm Yeah, and I would just like to say, I mean, this is if you're still trying to work a budget, obviously this is kind of an expensive build, but I almost want to say like you could play uh the ape secret rare instead of Cell Zeno sometimes because
Yeah.
with my build, you often end like you will on those odd turns, you'll just end with 1 mana hoping you can Cells Kamehameha or Dodoria, which is I think where the other builds where you're just gonna tap out for the Zarbons and whatnot. That sometimes you don't get to though because they attack your unison, so you don't always get a chance to cells. But that being said, I think there's a spot for that ape as well. And then, I mean, I just also did this to show that you don't need rebrand. You don't need to spend what $150, 100
Yeah,
$100
you
on
cut
those.
out Revrian, you cut out Zarbon.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think
So
the
that's at
only
least
you don't even need the
something
cells you
different.
said. It's nice to clinch the game, but the only money card I see in here is Dormants now.
Yeah,
Like
I
that's
mean,
it.
that's definitely you have to.
Yeah.
You definitely need 4 of them.
Yeah, if you're working your way up into this build, start with Dormant,
hmm
then end off with Celzino.
Yeah, for sure.
That
And then there's
that's
the
a good spot.
Masus are niche as well, I guess, but
Oh yeah,
they're
yeah, yeah.
such a good card when you do pull them off.
Could
Especially if they
be
violent raids its attack. They lose
right.
3 cards out of their hand.
Could also be reprinted soon. They've been doing really well with the reprints from draft boxes. So
Yeah, and
we'll see.
Draftbox 6 didn't have too much for the deck. Uh, there's some
No,
cheeky plays in there, but just
yeah,
like I said
even though
before,
they
not
had a
enough flex
bunch
room.
of a lot of Goten and Trunks is added, but I think they're all 10Ks and these are 15, right?
There are some 15Ks, and there is a neat Trunks one with dual attack, which so you would like swap to the Gotens instead of the Trunks from set 11, and
Oh,
maybe you could
okay.
pump one of those out. You could definitely add a promo. Uh, I would think a promo Goten. Maybe take out one of the it's a tough call because those ones that you can add them back to your hand, those are nice, definitely nice, especially in a grindier game where you need to discard a card to do the things you want to do.
Right.
Getting that back, that feels pretty good.
Well, cool.
Yeah,
All right. Thanks again for coming on. Hopefully we'll see more stuff from you in the future.
no
And
doubt.
this North Star Ball. Thanks for watching.